Former Democratic Massachusetts Congressman Barney Frank, and also joining us is reporter for The Daily Caller and host of The Facts, Brianna Lyman. Both of you, great to have you here. Brianna, your reaction to President Biden's comments in Maui.
Someone actually put it great on Twitter. They said that is akin to Biden comparing his time missing a connecting flight to families who lost someone in 9/11, right? Trying to empathize, but really just being self-centered. And Biden's response to this crisis, both his response and his administration, has been shameful. And I just want to remind viewers of two things that happened this week. You had Karine Jean-Pierre telling Maui residents they can simply go online to apply for FEMA aid. That would be great if they had electricity, but they don't. So it's tone deaf. They don't know what's going on. You have FEMA Director Deanne Criswell saying that it is a traumatic event. So that is why the people on the ground are claiming that the Biden administration isn't doing anything, but that they really are, because they're just traumatized from what happened. So you're not really listening to the people on the ground.
Barney, your thoughts, because when he got there, he also said, oh, this ground is too hot. It's too hot because it was leveled by a fire. It was outrageous, Barney.
No, it wasn't. In the first place, you misquote him.
I actually didn't, but go ahead.
Please, don't start interrupting.
Well, don't misquote me and say I misquoted him, but go ahead. We played his comments.
Here's how you misquoted him, and you get angry when I pointed out. You said, oh, he talked about his car and his cat. He began by talking about possibly losing his wife. You neglected to mention that. He also said he had a little sense of what was there. So, no, you totally misquoted him. Secondly, it is not the only thing he has done. The reaction of the administration has been effective, appreciated by the people who want. And do I ever get to talk without interruption? Do I ever, I guess...
Barney, you do. But let me go to Brianna, since you don't really want to answer the question.
Really, you're getting more dishonest by the...
You know what? You get more dishonest because you talk about how you don't have time and you kill 3 minutes talking about how you don't have time. But Barney, I will give you 30 seconds if you'll get to the point.
Yeah, the point is that Donald Trump says things far more outrageous almost every day than Joe Biden comes close to. And in your double standard, you ignore that, like saying, oh, poor Donald Trump. Joe Biden made fun of him when Trump was president. He viciously attacked on a regular basis every one of his predecessors, including Republicans like the Bushes.
Okay, so since Barney doesn't want to answer the question because it was a very small kitchen fire that was contained for a few minutes, that's the fact. It happened in 2014. Let's go back to Brianna. Go ahead, Brianna.
I'm actually so glad that Barney brought up Donald Trump. Let's talk about Donald Trump. When Hurricane Harvey hit, how did Donald Trump respond? Not only did he ask Congress to increase federal spending to help Texas and Louisiana, this man donated $1 million of his personal money to help those communities. Meanwhile, you have Joe Biden, who can't even put his own hand in his pocket because he was too busy at the beach in swim shorts that didn't actually have pockets. So that's the difference if you want to talk about Biden and Donald Trump. But let's go back to Maui. First of all, this administration and the entire woke agenda that they're pushing has seeped into state governments, okay? Because we saw the concerns about equity with the wildfires. That's why water wasn't there fast enough. And who always talks about this? Kamala Harris. Woke, equity, making sure people have everything equal. That is part of the problem here.
There was a delay, apparently, Barney, with the water because of some of those policies. And you can't tell me that comparing, let's go back to the small kitchen fire, saying the ground's too hot, he was falling asleep, it looked like at a funeral service. And Barney, this wasn't the first time. This is the anniversary, this is the 2-year anniversary of that disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. And the family members said, when the bodies were coming back, when the caskets were coming back, one of the mothers said she was appalled that he kept looking at his watch. He seems to have this disconnect at these horrible moments, Barney.
Oh, nonsense. He has been very effective in
That's
Hawaii.
not nonsense. That's true, Barney.
Again, an interruption.
Yeah, but you don't want to admit the facts, Barney. I'm happy for you to react to the facts, but you got to admit them.
Here's the deal, Rita. You both get to talk a lot. When I try to say anything...
Actually, I host the show, Barney. You may have not realized that, but go ahead.
Interrupting Rita the canceller. The fact is this. Donald Trump, at his meeting of the Putin fan club with Tucker Carlson, made the most outrageous mischaracterization of January 6th, talking about that riot in which policemen were assaulted as a lovely affair. That's far more...
He never said that. Oh, my God.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Interruption again. Do I ever get to make a speech?
Disingenuous to the audience, I will call you out for
Interruption
lying.
again. So Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson, I'm surprised they didn't congratulate Putin on his latest successful murder, because they're the Putin fan club. And that's a far more outrageous and destabilizing thing to be saying than anything Joe Biden ever thought of.
All right, now you've had your say. Obviously, you're still not going back to, you seem to think looking at the watch at that horrible time, talking about the ground being hot is okay. Let me go back. You're not answering, Barney, so let me go back to Brianna to answer, because all he talks about is Trump. Go ahead, Brianna, please.
I did answer it by rebutting your misquotation of him. He talked
which
about
is also wrong, but go ahead, Brianna, please.
I will ignore that Barney's lying right now. But when we go back to equating his small kitchen fire, look, he may have even brought up his wife and his daughter who were killed in the 1970s in a car crash. But that does not look, Barney, listen, the same way you don't like being interrupted, I'd appreciate the same kind of respect. I only call you out when you're lying to the audience. Now, back to what President Joe Biden said. He is trying to equate the situations. And the reason he's doing that is he thinks that he's empathizing. He thinks he's the empathizer in chief. But here's what the people in Maui need and what they've been asking for. They are asking for cooperation between federal government agencies and local and state officials. I mean, you have congresspersons in Hawaii saying that they have been, quote, iced out of conversation. So there is no connection going on here. And so Joe Biden can try and say, I know how you people are feeling. One, he doesn't. And the fact that he said, I almost lost my Corvette, big whoop. A Corvette, people literally lost their children. I read a mother who lost her son and her dog. She found them burned together. Okay, that is the kind of response that Joe Biden has when people like that are facing these problems. And then you have people like Barney trying to defend it. And look, if Joe Biden was on the ground every single day and he made a one-off comment, maybe you could be like, all right, it was stupid, whatever. He was there for a few hours. That's the response we get.
Yeah, there is a disconnect. Barney, I'll give you a couple seconds, but please focus on the question since we've given you a few minutes.
If he did not equate them, he said it was a very small way that it reminded him. The federal government has been responding, but I do welcome the my opponent's not suggestion, but affirmation that federal funding was necessary. And I was struck that this is, of course, an example when more federal funding is very important. And the response that the Biden administration has been giving to this has been satisfactory to the people of Hawaii.
Not really, Barney. They were booing. Barney, they were booing. It took them 2 weeks to come.
You cannot help yourself.
Yeah, and Barney, you can't help yourself because you are in la-la land. But anyway, we got to go to a break. I love you both. We got to correct you when you're wrong, Barney. I'll do the same to Brianna. But Barney, you are the spin meister. Yes, I do. Anyway, everybody, we love you both.